Welcome to this amazing webinar where we're going to talk you through the entire process on how to double your LinkedIn ads performance with the FOMA framework. Now, let's get started. Now, before we get deep diving into the nitty-gritty, I just want to walk you through why most people fail with LinkedIn ads. The first reason is because they don't really have a framework on how to implement when they're running LinkedIn ads. Second is because you're targeting the exact same people as everybody else. If for people that have been advertising on job titles for their entire life, this is a shout out to you. And the third one is that there's no clear sales and marketing alignment. There's no alignment between what happens once they saw an ad, what happens once somebody becomes a lead, how does that work, the whole process. And the last part is just a very not understanding process on how the business model works. Like how much value are you creating? How much money are you making from one client? And how is that impacting how you set up your ads? And this is the things that we're going to learn. Now, for this webinar, I have three promises. The first one is that I'm going to share my number one secret FOMA framework on how to double your LinkedIn ads results. That's the first topic we're going to look at. The second one is how to target your ideal prospects for twice the price. Well, twice the price cheaper in that case, using the echo targeting framework. So we're going to teach you how to target the exact same person, just at lowering your cost by double the price. And then this third one, that's the last secret. It's something you can implement within 15 minutes. It's a retargeting hack I've been using my entire life and I love it. And you'll be able to implement that within 15 minutes. Now, of course, at the end, if you stick around, there's a bonus. There's a bonus exclusive announcement that we're going to share with you just for the people that are watching this entire webinar. So stick around. Now, before we get started, there's a few things that you're going to learn. The three misconceptions, because there's a lot of misconceptions around what LinkedIn ads, what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. The secret FOMA framework, decreasing your targeting ideal prospects by half, and the retargeting hack I talked about earlier. Now, if you're one of these three people, you are in the right webinar. So the first one is the agency owners looking to double down on selling LinkedIn ads towards their clients and booking more results. The second is the in-house marketers, the people that are really planning, running social media campaigns for your own company or the company you're working at. We're just looking to take it to the next level or really just trying to get the first results. And then the third one is the business owners who are looking to add LinkedIn ads as a way to grow their business, but they really haven't got a clue on how to get it right. If you're one of these three people, well, you are in the right webinar. So in short, it's for people that really want to drive more demand or awareness for their B2B business or target accounts. So specific accounts you want to get into from a business perspective, this is for you. Or if you want to generate more leads for your business, or if you want to find a scalable way to drive more revenue without actually wasting your entire budget. So if that is you, you are in the right webinar. Now, at the end, I'll have two surprises for you. And the first one will come in 30 minutes. So if you stick around for about 30 minutes, you're going to get your first surprise. All right, let's dive deep. Now, my name is Ricardo Hakire. You don't need to remember my last name. Completely hard, but I'm a Belgian guy who sold his first cigarettes at the age of 11, basically. I figured if you get a full package and then sell that individually cigarettes, you can actually make more money because there's seniors that didn't want to get caught by their parents back in the time for smoking cigarettes, would just pay the premium price for not getting caught. So this is how I used to make my first money to buy my first burgers. Now, when I was 21, I bought my first coffee bar. I didn't know anything about coffee. Like the first day, people are asking me for cappuccino. I had no idea what they were talking about. I just wanted to do business, whatever the business was. We got into a few newspapers. We opened up the first coffee container, a second location. It was amazing. And by the age of 21, I sold that business, a lot of years ago now, if I think about it. And then the second thing, when I was 21, I sold the first cocktail business. So if you think about HelloFresh or all these contacts where, you get drop shipped or you get shipped all your food, I was doing the exact same thing with cocktails. You get a box, you create 4 cocktails. It was crazy. I didn't know anything about marketing back then, but we grew our Instagram all the way to 10K followers using Instagram automation, all of the fun stuff that now is a little bit mainstream or got a little bit more mainstream, but back then was quite innovative moving forward. And this is how I got free Schweppes. So we got partnerships with big gin brands, with Schweppes. They would actually provide us all of our drinks for free because they just wanted to be part of the community and part of the following, basically. And then after that, I sold that business. I went back to school, graduated when I was 23 in business economics. Now, you might be wondering, how do I go from like selling coffees and graduating in business economics to launching the first European LinkedIn ads masterclass? Now, we'll get to that in a quick second. So when I dropped out of school, or when I got back into school and I graduated finally, I opened up my first B2B SaaS agency at the age of 24, just focusing on servicing a lot of B2B SaaS clients, mostly with LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn automation, anything that had to do with paid media. We grew that agency amazingly, where we were able to sell it a few years later, and I became the head of growth and paid social in an agency that grew from 13 to 132 people, managing over 3 million in ad spend. Not bad for somebody that just graduated business economics and didn't actually know anything about marketing itself. And this is when I started sharing everything, like everything I knew about LinkedIn, about anything about B2B marketing. I started sharing that on LinkedIn. And this is when I got a huge amount of traction. I got huge amount of post views, sharing my knowledge, just giving all the value that I could, sharing whatever I could basically along the way, which has led me to writing my first book about in 2019. This is a few years ago. I just got the book here as well, got a few new printed as well, but I started writing books. This is not an empty book, this is an actual book. And I started giving presentations all over the world, from Barcelona all the way to the north, back in Dubai as well. And this is so much fun because then I just got invited into this huge amount of talks talking about, LinkedIn secrets, everything that had to do with this platform. I was talking about it, wherever in the world. Whereas today as well, I was able to speak at the largest advertising conference, talking about my way and basically the philosophy I'm following when it comes to LinkedIn ads performance on AdWorld. And the amazing part about this is that I got amazing feedback. These are just a few examples, but after the talk on AdWorld, like it started blowing up. Like people really wanted to know more about the whole process, what is happening. People started sharing my slides. You'll see one of the slides on the right. You'll see them back today. And this led me to just bringing the value to a more scalable solution, because we've been just working with clients one-to-one and really wanted to find a scalable way on how to build the LinkedIn ads community. So in short, I'm now a growth consultant with over 7 years paid social media campaigns. Started the first European LinkedIn ads course back in 2021. We have a Facebook group of about 4,000 members. And I'm also the founder of a software company called Haylands, which is an all-bound marketing software for small SMBs. Now, there was just something that was not out there. I remember looking for learning on how to run LinkedIn ads. And there's nothing out there. Like if you look at learning about LinkedIn ads, there's basic Udemy courses. You've seen them before, but they're super basic. I followed all of them. I paid for every single course out there. It's complete crap. If you go to Udemy, follow a course there, it is complete crap. Then there's Facebook courses trying to do some same tactics on LinkedIn. So they have like this whole Facebook section and they talk about LinkedIn for like a brief second. It's just also not worth it. And otherwise you have these expensive trainings by people who actually haven't run any campaigns. And you'll see this in the slides moving forward. I'm going to show you actual results. I'm going to show you actual things that we've run before with the metrics next to it. So I decided to build the first LinkedIn Ads Masterclass. With now it's close to 1,000 students, about 932 once now we're speaking. And I'm really looking forward to inspire not 1,000 but 1 million marketeers around the world to grow better in ads, to grow companies. That is my mission. That is where I want to go. I'm at 932. That's still a way to go, but that's the ambition I want to get to. So the reason why I'm doing this LinkedIn ads is, or why LinkedIn ads is such a valuable thing, is because you can target very specific people, target very specific companies. It's also just a very scalable solution without adding extra manpower. So if you want to scale the channel, it is possible without actually adding more manpower to it. It's a very predictive sales pipeline that you can build, and it's able to generate those higher deal values that you're probably missing when you're advertising on other platforms like, TikTok, Facebook, any other channels. You'll just be able to generate higher deal values, which you won't be able to get in these other platforms. So my question to you, are you ready to start your LinkedIn ads journey? Because if you are, this is going to be amazing. So let's get started. So back in 2016, what I was doing, maybe these are things that you've been doing as well, is you've been just copy pasting Facebook tactics. So you just take what works on Facebook and just copy paste on LinkedIn and hope for the best. I was driving traffic without any clear framework in my mind. I was targeting the exact same audience. If you probably you're doing the same, but like targeting job titles, because that's like the easiest way to think about it. That's his job title. It's probably going to work out. And I didn't really understand how sales and marketing was working together to achieve those results or aligning business models towards customer journeys. And this is exactly what you don't want to be doing, basically. You don't want to be doing all of this. So what I'm going to teach you today is exactly what you should be doing moving forward. So the first thing, as I promised, I want to walk you to the misconceptions. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, there is a three-sided LinkedIn strategy. There's three main things that you can do on LinkedIn. Of course, on the left side, you have your B2B marketing strategy. You have to have that in place. Your segmentation, your ideal customer profile, all of these things have to be in place in order to start any channel in whatsoever. But once you have that figured out, there's three main things that you can grow on LinkedIn. There is outbound. So using LinkedIn messages, I'm targeting or I'm sending messages towards one other person. That is what is called outbound. Inbound is anything that has to do with sharing content on LinkedIn. That could be on your company profile, but that's also on your personal profile. This is exactly what I wrote this book about, on how to achieve that. This is the inbound part and the outbound part. This is where this book talks about. Now, this book doesn't talk about the last part, which is basically PPC, pay-per-click, or a fancy way of saying the advertising part of stuff. So this is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. This is exactly how we're going to grow, and I'm going to show you how to grow using LinkedIn ads. Now, there's the first misconception. So the first misconception is around that LinkedIn clicks are very, very expensive. That it's such an expensive channel to target on that it's almost impossible to drive any revenue coming out of LinkedIn ads. And I feel that's not true. So if I looked at the CPC, you can see a few examples from campaigns. We have multiple examples of this, where we're basically targeting, very specific high profile big people. And think about payroll people. This is really people in payroll. If you ever run Google ads on payroll people, you'll see that you're having cost per clicks of like 10, 20, 30 euros, which is insane. And we had to find a different way in order to get that done. And we were paying about 60 euros. If you're watching this from somewhere else, well, I'll let you do the calculations, but 60 cents is nothing for a click on LinkedIn. The same thing for other campaigns. We're targeting high profile people for 2 euros, 1 euro. And if you think about those costs, it's actually very similar. It might still be a little bit more expensive than Facebook or TikTok. TikTok is just CPM like crazy. But if you talk about like very specific profiles you want to target for a cost per click, which is almost similar to what you're paying on Facebook right now, it is crazy. So it is definitely possible to lower down your costs and your clicks and your cost per click in order to achieve the results you want. Now, the second one is the misconception that you cannot generate any leads on LinkedIn. It is not possible. Like, we've tried so many things in order to generate leads on LinkedIn. Now, this is just two different accounts. The first one is where we're getting a stable 150 to 200 leads per month driving forward with a total leads of about 1,200. And then the same thing on a different account where we're getting a 900 leads so far. And this is back in 2020 even, where we're just driving 150 to 200 leads per month coming in from LinkedIn only, basically. So it is definitely possible. The same thing here, like this is just another campaign group, just two campaigns where we're driving a total leads of about 344 over a lifespan of a few months. Same thing here, because the misconception then is like, yeah, you must have had crazy budgets to achieve that. No, absolutely not. Like if you look at just the lifespan going from November all the way to January, that's, what about 3 months, basically, 2-3 months. This is an average cost per lead of 10 euros. So think about it. Is a cost per lead of 10 euros worth something to your business? Is that something you could like invest in? If that's the case, it is definitely possible. We were paying cost per leads of about 10 euros moving forward on a monthly basis. Like you can see a few peaks, but quite, it was quite stable for about 3 months. Same thing here. So we were actually having an average cost per lead of what, 10 euros, 16 euros, 5 euros basically. So if you look at the down campaign, we were paying 6 euros for a cost per lead. Think about it. That is something you would be paying on Facebook or even on TikTok, basically moving forward. So it is definitely possible to achieve these results. On LinkedIn, same thing here. There's another example, 24 euros, 12 euros for cost per lead. We were getting 226 leads for an average cost per lead of 12 bucks, 12 euros, basically dollars. That's almost the same. So it is definitely possible to achieve these results. You can get average cost per leads of all the way from 5, 10, 16, 20 euros moving forward. And if that's something worth to your business, why not invest in it? So these are about the misconceptions. There is misconceptions that the cost per click is too high. Bullshit. You cannot generate leads. Bullshit. The cost per lead is too high. Bullshit. You just don't know how to run ads. And that's exactly what we're going to cover today in this framework, because the framework we're using is the exact same framework we're using for all the campaigns that we moved forward. So I'm going to show you the framework on how to fix your ads. Now, the most important thing, like if you think about what is the one thing I need to remember from these slides, it's basically this. This is a grandma. Probably you can see that from the picture, but that's the most important thing that you need to know, because if you translate grandmother in Dutch, which is my native language, it translates into oma. So we say oma against a grandmother. So what you want to learn is the FOMA framework. That's where the reference comes to, but it stands for the letters O-M-A. So we're going to show you how to do it the grandma way. Now, I adapted the philosophy because I invented the FOMA framework a few years ago. And moving forward, we actually realized there was one letter missing. And we made it fuck FOMA, which is to all respect to all the grandmas in the world, but we call it FOMA nowadays. So we're going to show you the updated version of the framework that we were teaching. So the FOMA framework stands for a few things. First, the F stands for friction. I'm going to show you each by step on what these things mean in a second. So the F stands for friction. The O stands for offer, the M for message, and the A for audience. And these are the 4 words I want you, or the 4 letters I want you to remember when you're going to build your campaign, any campaign in a single future. You need to know these 4 letters, because without all these 4 moving forward, you're going to fail your campaigns. Now, if you put that into a structure, if you think about what comes first, what do I need to do first? Because do I need to do all of this at the same time? How does the structure work? So when you think about your structure, the first thing as a marketeer or a business owner or an agency owner is to define the offer. The offer is the most essential part of any campaign that you're ever going to build for your clients or for your in-house team or as a business owner, basically. And the offer basically says, how will you loop in your audience to get the first touch points? What's the offer that you're going to put forward? In this case, the offer is the free webinar that you're watching right now. This is the offer. How am I looping people in? This is where you get the first traction towards building your main offer or your business, basically. So the offer is the first thing you define. The second is the friction. How hard is it to get this offer? Like, do I need to call somebody? Do I need to like fill in a 50 people form? Like all of these things, how frictionless is it to get the offer? The third one is the message. What is the message? How am I going to loop people in with my messaging? And we're going to watch these things separately. I'm going to deep dive into exactly what we're doing on LinkedIn so you can see the exact process. And then the last part is audience. What's the creatives? What's the angles? What's the copy? What is all these things doing? Like, how do I tweak this in order to get this forward? So this is exactly what we're going to be moving forward with. All right. The first thing, the most important thing is the offer, basically. The offer is the most important thing that you're going to be working on because, frankly speaking, nobody freaking cares about your free trial or your demo. Put that into your mind. Nobody goes to LinkedIn thinking, wow, I wish I saw an ad today that would give me a demo straight from LinkedIn. I have never heard that speak, and I've run a lot of campaigns, and we've run campaigns with demo and free trials and all the bullshit thing. Nobody freaking cares. So let me show you what people really care about. If you think about what type of content you need for LinkedIn, you have to look at the content friction funnel. The content friction funnel is basically how you define the content depending on the stage of the journey, basically. And on the left side, you can see examples on what that looks like. On the middle, you're going to see the funnel, so the tofu funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. And depending on what's the stage of your journey of the person, you're going to show them different kind of content. And you'll see that the higher you go, so the higher you go into the top of the funnel, you'll see that it's lower friction. And because it's lower friction, it's easier to get people in. If it's a higher friction offer, like a bottom of the funnel offering, for example, a demo booking, basically, if it's a demo booking, it's going to be a high friction because it's too much friction in order for the person to come in. So what you need to be thinking about is what kind of content do I have which stands in the middle of the funnel or the top of the funnel, or a little bit combined. And I'm going to give you examples on what offers have worked for us in the past and what has not worked, basically. So walk through me, but this is something very important for you to know is the offer I'm putting forward, which stage of the funnel is it? Is it really down the funnel or is it all the way up to the funnel? Now, let's start with an example of a tofu offering, basically. And I'm going to walk you through this campaign. So the first campaign is we were having free tickets. So we were working with a client in the payroll space, very, very competitive space. And they were actually sponsor of an event called Unleash, basically. Unleash is one of the bigger events when it comes to HR, payroll, and all of these things. You can see the future of work, where the talent acquisition world meets, all of these fun stuff. And we had free tickets because we were sponsoring the event, or the client was sponsoring those events. So what we've done, we figured out that there was actually groups, member groups on LinkedIn that were actually going to those events. So I could actually target member groups that have been to these events, because everybody that went to event last year's, they were put into a LinkedIn group. So we knew exactly who in the past actually went to these events. So we were exactly able to target people that actually has been to these events before. And we ran some very cool campaigns where we said, hey, do you want a free ticket? Do you want to get a chance to win a free ticket in order to go to an event you may already going to, or you have been in the past? Maybe you don't want to buy a ticket for now, but you're going to get one in from us for free. So we were actually sending people LinkedIn ads messages towards saying, hey, do you want a free ticket to Unleash? Because we already know you are very aware of what Unleash is. And this is an example of a very tofu offering, basically. This is not to bring people into the business to book a demo. This is really to bring the first awareness of people that might be going into an event where the client will also they were also going to have a booth. So the goal was to bring them from this free tickets all the way to the booth that they would having. So these were campaigns running even like a few months before the event was actually happening. We have some middle of the funnel offering. So most of these are like ebooks, basically, and ebooks are really about how to improve XYZ. So in this case, when it came to anything that had to do with HR has, they've been living in a stone age for a few years. We all, like, if you're in marketing, you've heard about predictive analytics, you know about algorithms, all of the fun stuff. HR, that is not the case. So we had to write something very particular around HR analytics, because that was super hot. And still in this century, it seems like they still haven't caught up. So they're still very relevant to talk about anything that had to do with HR analytics. It was a prime mode. This was actually your number one lead generation machine when it comes to anything that had to do with payroll integrations or payroll people. We would get them into our funnel with talking about HR analytics. You can see on the left the ad, which we would say, this is a stupid robot. Why is it designed? This is literally an image from Unsplash. If you know the website, it's a free website where you get images. This was outperforming every single creative that was done by a creative agency, which we're going to show you later on. But this was the ad that was outperforming all of the ads. And we have some really cool statistics in the masterclass around using images like this versus, the crappy ones you get from your agency, which most of the time outperform not at all. And we were actually also asking a bunch of questions on top, and still people would fill in, like, are you active in multiple countries? In which services are you interested? Are you open to having better analytics with the clients? Like, they were all asking these questions, and people would actually fill this in moving forward. Now, this is an offering, and I think this was one of the most interesting offerings because it was right in the middle between a bottom of the funnel offering and the middle of the funnel offering. So what we've done here and what we realized when you look at the customer journey, and this is why I'm referring back to the customer journey and business models. When you look at the customer journey of, integrating like a global payroll, which is huge amount of money integrating, before you integrate or before you buy a solution, most people, they have to do an RFP. An RFP is basically a request for proposal. This is where a company sends out an RFP, so a big piece of document that every supplier has to fill in. And based on those replies, they will choose one of the vendors, basically. So what we've done is we've created a whole RFP document. This is like 100 questions of things that you need to ask your suppliers in order to get the best choice of creating or getting like a global payroll. So we figured out this was really at the bottom of the stage, but it was such a good document that you could actually also use it to run ads on top. So we ran ads on, hey, if you are wondering about, getting a global payroll and you need to figure out which questions to ask, here is 100 categorized questions you can ask. And of course, those questions were really relevant as well. And of course, we knew we were very good at scoring at those questions, from the client itself. So we knew that those 100 questions, we would be able to fill in quite well because it was the questions we were asking, basically. So this is something interesting as well. When you think about your customer journey, what's that little piece of content is like, not like a book a demo, but what's just the step before people start booking a demo and really asking more questions, basically. That's what you need to start figuring out when building your funnel and your offering. Now that we've discovered the offering, we're going to go into the friction. Like, remember, this is because everybody hates friction to get something they want. You need to define what friction, how hard are we going to make it for these people to get the offering? Now, what I never understood when marketers run or business owners run ads, they tend to ask every single thing, all the way from what's your name to, hey, what underpants do you wear today? Like, it's insane. So the first thing when we looked at, when we were running ads, people would have a great offer. And then they would ask like huge amount of questions, which are absolutely irrelevant at the stage of the journey the customer was in, or at least the prospect was in. If you're just thinking about getting a global payroll, you don't want to fill in a huge amount of questions. You just want to get the document and move forward and live with that. So this is where I'm just going to move my head a little bit. There we go. Got to put myself in the middle. This is where my supermarket journey comes in to explain you this concept. So once upon a time, I got a brochure, and the brochure you can see was from Aldi. Aldi is a quite famous supermarket back in Belgium. And I saw an offer. If you remember from the first topic, the offer was very simple. You get one cucumber and you get one for free, basically. That was the offering. And although that is a great offer, you'll see if you map it in the FOG behavior model, and the FOG behavior model works very simple. On the left, you have motivation, and on the right, or on the downstairs, you have the ability to do it, basically. How high is your motivation and how hard is it to do the ability? So if you think about it, the ability to do it was, rather not that hard, but also not that easy to do. If I wanted to get the offer, I need to take my car, drive all the way to the supermarket, open the basket, get in, get one cucumber, then get two, check out and come back. So my ability was, it was not that easy to do. It was also not very hard to do, but it was also not easy to do. But if you look at the left, you'll see that my motivation to get this cucumber was very low. It's like, okay, that's a nice offer, but do I really care about having a cucumber right now and getting two of it? Like, I don't know, not really, to be honest. So you can see that my motivation was low. My ability was so-so. It was not easy, but not hard to do as well. But if you look at the next example, you'll see that my mom, she has a little pond at her home and it broke down. And what happened is in that example folder, there was a second offer. The second offer was you can actually get a pump for your, I wouldn't call it a lake. I don't even know the English word, but like a pond, I guess. You can get the pump worth 109 euros for only 29.99. So you went from like 109 to 29.99 in the exact moment that my mother's pump broke. So I'm like, wow, suddenly my ability to go to the supermarket remained the same. I still have to jump in the car, move, drive a few minutes, park my car, get in, get the pump. So the ability remained the same, but the motivation actually increased because the offer was better than the cucumber offer. So in that regards, I really I bought like a few of them because it was such a good deal. But my ability remained the same, but my motivation went up. And this is also why at the end of the story, I'm just going to move myself back all the way there. I got the pump promotion. You can see my mom, which she's still in her bathrobe. Sorry, mom. But she got the pump. I got the cucumber promotion. I actually got two. I did all my groceries on top of that. So I even got all my groceries. And the best parts, 4 of our other friends also bought a pump. They got the cucumber and the groceries. And this is a little explanation on if the friction is too high in order to get your offering. So your offer could be there, but if the friction is too high to get 2 cucumbers, it is not going to work out. But if I was at the exact supermarket and I see the promotion of the 2 cucumbers, I'm like, oh, this is the exact moment I should have got that offer. You'll see the exact same thing with LinkedIn ads. So if your offering is too low in the funnel, so if it's too bottom of the funnel and you're asking too much, the friction is going to be too high and you're not going to get the results. So I just want to share with you a few best practices before moving forward on this topic is that you really need to decide on what information is relevant depending on the stage of the funnel you are targeting. If it's really top of the funnel, do you really need all those other questions? Like, is it really relevant? Are you going to do something with it or are you not going to do something with it? If you're not, leave it out. Ask it later. Like, give them a second offer, give them a cucumber offer after they got the pump. So think about what information you need in order to, move them past the funnel, basically. Now, the second thing is align with your sales team with information which is relevant for routing. So, for example, for a few of our clients, we ask them, hey, are you looking to buy an international payroll in the coming 6 months? If it's a yes, well, that's interesting information. That's something that the sales team can move forward. Even if they're not going to buy now, it is interesting information that they can move forward with and build their account list on. And then the last one, sometimes you're going to have to increase the friction. And I'm seeing it times and times over. Well, you just say, okay, first name, last name, email. That's the friction that you're building, and it's so easy for us to do. But sometimes because of the friction being too low, you're actually getting a very bad quality leads, basically. So you'll have to find a balance between how much is the friction that we're going to ask, and sometimes you'll even have to increase the friction to get that quality a little bit higher. Now, on the last part, or actually the third part, is the audience, because at the end of the road, you still need to figure out who's going to buy from you. So this is something that I learned in economics, nothing to do with marketing, but in economics. And the problem with most marketeers is that they don't understand this graph. And this graph is basically the same thing as a stock market. In the stock market, it goes very simple. The more demand there is for a stock, so if the demand goes up for a stock and the supply stays the same, so if you only have 100 Apple shares and the demand for those Apple shares go up, what happens is that the price goes up because they need to, match supply and demand. So the same thing happens, the same thing principle happens when you're running LinkedIn ads. So the demand is you or me or you, but the demand is us marketeers or founders or agency owners driving or wanting to buy what is called eyeballs. So people going to the LinkedIn. Supply is the eyeballs, is the people spending time on LinkedIn, which you can serve your ads. So let's take an example which happens so many times. Let's say imagine that you are targeting B2B marketers. I'm targeting B2B marketers, and we both use the segmentation or in our ads we use founders basically. That's the thing that we want, or marketers basically, B2B marketers or just marketers in general. We both target job titles. Marketers, you do the same thing, I do the same thing. You can see that the demand goes up, but that the supply remains the same. There's no much more marketers than yesterday or today. Like they may be growing a little bit, but not that much that you can target the same person. I'm targeting the same person. So we're competing against each other. So the demand goes up and the supply stays the same. So what happens is that the price of targeting the exact same person just went up. Because you're targeting and I'm targeting the exact same person, LinkedIn says, well, whoever pays more gets to get the eyeball basically. And that's something very important to know when running LinkedIn ads and how to decrease your LinkedIn ads, which we'll be showing you a little bit later. And the problem is that everybody is targeting the exact same audience. Everybody's going for whatever job title or something they're very comfortable with. But you'll see from ads that we've run in the past is that you can target the exact same person, but targeting with other demographics or skills. And in this case, we were running ads, like everybody of our competitors were running ads on job titles. Think about it, payroll people, payroll supplier, whatever they want to put in. We were going for HR groups and HR skills. And this is actually where we got the most value for our money, basically, because we were paying cheaper. We were paying twice cheaper in our ad spend than our competition was doing for the exact same audience. And this is something I want you to understand, is that depending on what you're targeting or what the segmentation is, you can actually lower down your cost and your approach basically. So if you look at the left, this is what is called a segmentation. This is how I build my ads. So this is the behind the wall secrets, is that I'm splitting up. I'm not bulking everything together. I'm putting ads of job titles, job functions, skills, groups, and interest. I put them in a separate audience because what I want to figure out is, can I target the exact same person with a different approach and actually pay cheaper? Because you'll see there's some advantages and disadvantages to all of these approaches. For example, the job title is very precise, but the volume is low. Like there's only like if it's not the exact same job title, you'll see that the value is low. And the expense, therefore, because there's a low demand or there's low supply, the expense is super high. And this is why if you're targeting always on the same job title, you're always paying the premium price. That's not what you want to be doing. So for example, if you take groups is very precise. Like, you know exactly if there's somebody in an HR group, it's very precise. You're going to target everybody within that group, but the volume is low, but the expense is the average. So you're dropping down your price just by targeting the exact same person, but just in a different way. And we'll be teaching you a little bit more on that in a second. And what I do want to stress out, if you don't measure all the way, you'll miss out. So here's a great example. So I could take my screenshots basically, but this is literally a screenshot from my screen. Left side and the right side is the Salesforce, the CRM of the client. And we would basically get like a screenshot and say, wow, this is actually really cool. We got a client in, or we got like a prospect in, worth about 461,000 euros basically. And we were able to link all the way to the white paper that they downloaded, and knowing that these people came from, and if you look at my WhatsApp, this person came through a message ad on LinkedIn, which was targeting payroll job titles. If you remember the higher, more expensive ones, we switched it off because the campaigns had a high CPL of 35 bucks. So if you look at that, we were actually at 10 to 15 euros per lead. And this one was at 35. So we switched it off But because of the feedback we got from sales, and that's why it's super important for you to measure all the way and knowing what's happening with your leads, is that we actually switch them back on, because even with a high CPL of 35K or 35 euros, we could still justify a lead coming in for 460K. So if you look at that discrepancy, your whole campaign already paid back just because of that one person coming in, basically at a cost of 35 bucks. So my advice is always measure all the way so you can switch it back on and off depending on what you're targeting. Now, the last part, the messaging, because every human being cares about the same thing. I always keep on repeating that. Marketing of 10 years ago has not changed. Like, the core principles of marketing didn't change. The platforms changed. The way you approach it changes. But the whole philosophy and how human works has not changed. And this is the screenshot that somebody loved from AdWorld. So I'm going to share that with you as well. And I want you to understand one thing, but before I share that, I'm going to drink one little sip, otherwise I'm going to be drying out. So, very clear. What I want you to know from this slide is that most people, when they run LinkedIn ads, they talk about their product. We have this product with benefit A, B, C, and then we have, we have this book basically, and it's made of white and yellow and black letters, and you're like, fuck, I don't really care. Like, what's in it for me? So when you're running LinkedIn ads, most people talk about the flower part, your product. And if you look at the left, the person is like a potential customer. He looks at the flowers like, I don't really care that there's like yellow background and black and white. Like, we don't care about your product. Like, put that into your mind that people have absolutely no care about your product unless you're selling water in the Sahara and you're reaching out. Yeah, okay, you could talk about your product very quickly because people would understand, okay, I need a drink, but probably you're not selling that. So what you need to be talking about in your ads is nothing to do with your product. It has to do with, how do I make this amazing person who can do rat shit, how can I get them there? How can I not talk about my book basically, but how can I talk about all of the benefits that you're going to get, like all of the things that you're going to be able to do once you get this book. You'll be able to, understand the LinkedIn algorithm, how it works. You'll be able to go viral, basically. All of those things that people want to get to, that's what you should be talking about. Not about your product, not about the yellow flowers or the yellow colors and all that stuff. It has to do with what's the benefit for them, what's in it for them, basically. Nothing about what your product does. Now, if you look at the 8 primary desires of why we are programmed way, there's 8 ways on what we really want, the primary desires of what we all want. Like, we all want the same thing. First one is survival and enjoyment of life, basically. That is the first one. The first one is really, I just want to survive and have fun in life. The second one is enjoyment of food and beverages. Everybody loves food, drinks, all of the fun stuff. Now, the third one is freedom of fear, pain, and danger, basically. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want to live in fear. That's something we want to avoid, basically. Fourth one, sexual companionship. I guess most of these people, everybody wants a little bit of love from time to time. That is not just, whatever the word is, but, that could also just be a hug, basically. The fifth one, comfortable living conditions, to be superior, winning, and keeping up with the Joneses. So that basically means that you want to be always winning. You want to make sure that you're on top of your game or whatever game that you were playing, basically, or top of the householding, or top of whatever that you want to advertise on. You want care and protection of loved ones, and you want to have social approval, basically. So if you think about those biological principles, these are the things that you need to put forward when running your ads. And I'll give you an example in a second. Before, we're going to look at the secondary desires. When you think about secondary desires, there's the first one. The first one is that you want to be informed. You want to be informed about what's happening, basically. Everybody loves to, go to the coffee machine and talk like, oh, this is what's happening with Gerald, and this is what's happening here. Like, everybody wants to be informed. Second thing is curiosity. Everybody's curious about something. Like, if I gave you A and I give you a roadmap, you want to be wondering what's B. So what's next, basically. The third one is cleanliness of body and surroundings. efficiency, convenience, dependability and quality, expressive beauty and style, economy and profit. Think about that for your ads, how everybody loves a profit or loves a bargain, basically. If you go to supermarket, remember the cucumber story, you suddenly want to have, okay, I get 1+1 free. That's a great deal. I want to have that one. And that's the bargain one. So you want to have a profit or you want to have a bargain, basically. But how does that work into like the ads bar, basically? I'm just going to move myself a little bit up there. There we go. So if you look at it from an ads perspective and you look and analyze the copy of what you write and the first one is, are you sure you're making the right decision when picking an international payroll system? That's the first, basically. That's the desire, basically. So because you're being informed in your decision, so you're able to be the rock star in your company. That's the first one, which is the social approval. So if you think about on the left, are you sure you're making the right decision? And then you go all the way down, is that this way, there's no doubt you'll be the rock star of your team when picking the right payroll, basically. We're playing on the fear of making sure that you make the right decision. Because if you implement like a CRM system or like a big payroll system, and it doesn't turn out to be the good one, oh boy, you are completely fired, basically. So this is what we're playing on. We want you to be informed about all the solutions that are out there in order to be the rock star, so the social approval, to be the rock star of the company. We're playing on that first desire and also the secondary desire of all humans, basically. And the angle we used here is, are you making the right decision? We play a little bit on the fears, like, are you sure? Are you sure this is the right decision? Because if you're thinking about a solution, you should start considering 2, 3 other ones that could actually give you the right product. And because you're implementing an RFP template and you're gathering all that data from 2, 3 suppliers, well, nobody's going to blame you that you picked the wrong one, because everybody decided on this topic, basically, not just yourself. So we really played out the fear angle in order to get that payroll RFP template and forward towards people. And this was actually one of the best performing ads compared to a few others we were running. All right, the last one. So the second secret, and I hope you enjoyed it so far already. The second secret is basically how to target your ideal prospects twice cheaper with the eco-targeting framework. So if you think about it back, there is so many ways of targeting the exact same person. There's so many opportunities to target. You have job experiences, like titles like head of growth, functions, marketing, seniority, entry. And there's so many ways to target the exact same person. You can go all the way from educations, interests and traits, the company they work at, the demography. There's so much things, and it's only growing basically on the ways that you can target. And the goal is really to find the same person without overpaying. The goal is really to find, okay, how do I target this person, the person I want to get in front of, without actually paying the premium price, because everybody's doing the exact same thing. So this is where the targeting cost approach comes in. You want to figure out, if you've seen the slide already, is you want to figure out, how do I target, maybe through interests, like people like, Google Ads interest or LinkedIn Ads interest. How do I target the exact same B2B founder or B2B marketer without actually mentioning the job title, for example, because we know that's a very high cost game. So how does that work? What you can do is you can find hidden interest on your ideal customer profiles. So what we used to do and still do at this exact same day is we ask for a list of customers or people that we really want to target. So we ask the sales team, hey, if you think about the exact person that you want to meet tomorrow, basically on a call, who would that be? Give us the LinkedIn profile, give us your LinkedIn URL. And what we're able to do, if you go to each profile, is you can actually go ahead and see what groups they're in. So for example, in my case, that's a LinkedIn marketing developer group, Ethereum, where of course we need the blockchain, global payroll wizards, LinkedIn advertising group, the LinkedIn hack family. So all of these groups, that's where I'm in. And also the second part, so this is the groups one. If you look at the interest one, you'll see that I have a lot of interest as well. I have my skills. So for example, marketing, multilingual, selling skills. So you'll see that I have a bunch of skills that you can target me without actually using my job title. So you don't want to be targeting the job title. You really want to be focusing on what's the skills that I can target and what is the groups the person is, so I can lower my ad spend because I'm targeting the exact same person without actually overpaying the premium price of going for job titles, which most people do. So there is a way to do it. So you can either go through each LinkedIn profile, which I used to do back in the days. I used to get those profiles, and not even the LinkedIn URLs. I just used to get like names from the salespeople, and they were like, okay, these guys. And what I had to do all the way is really go one by one, find the LinkedIn URL, scroll down, put them into a Google Sheet, and trying to figure out, is there like within these 10, 15, 20 people that we want to go after, is there anything that is resembling? Is there something that say, okay, actually, all these people, they love marketing. All of these people have selling skills in their skills, basically. But we figured out there's a better way. So what you can actually do is what we do right now is that we scrape all of your ideal profiles in bulk to find and discover hidden interests. So what we do based on the LinkedIn URL, we can actually scrape the entire profile. And this is an example of a scrape where we get the LinkedIn profile, but we get the first name, last name, how many subscribers, so what's the audience, what's the interest they have, what groups they are in. So we get that just by starting to creating buckets. So what we do is we get a list of either the customers you want to go after or the customers you already have, and we put them into the personas, basically. So imagine you're going after a B2B company. Your solution sells to salespeople, but also to marketing people. You want to make sure that you split them up so you can tailor your messages towards the marketing people and the salespeople. So what we do is we put the persona 1, we put them in column 1, so that could be all the marketers. Then we have persona 2, we put them in, that's all the salespeople, we put them in the same column. And from there, we start a scrape. We get all the LinkedIn URLs automatically, and then we get all of those people for free. We get them into the Google Sheet. And once we have them into the Google Sheet, what we can do is basically run an automation in order, and this is what is called the echo targeting template, is we scrape all the profiles at scale and rank them next to each other. So we see what's everybody's first member skill, what's the second, what's the third, and we can start making colorations. We can basically look at, and this is an automatic sheet, what does that to us is basically saying, okay, out of all these people, like how many times is affiliate marketing found, Google AdWords, marketing, selling skills, social media marketing. So we kind of look at what's the most common skill, which you can see on the right, basically. You can see what's the most common skill found in member skill 1, what's the most common skill found in member skill 2 and 3. And based on that, it basically gives us, if you think about from a Google Ads perspective, we get a bunch of keywords, which we can now use to target the exact same person, which you would put in marketer or founder in. We get the exact same audience we want to target in, but at a cheaper discounted price. And this is how you start overpaying to your competitors, because they're all doing the same thing. They're really just putting all the job titles because the sales gave them a bunch of titles they want to go after. But we can do it in a much cheaper way with this approach, because we're targeting the exact same person. Because I have marketing skills in my profile, I'm just targeting in a cheaper way. And this is how you lower down your spend by targeting the exact same person, but at a lower cost per lead, basically. Now, this is secret number 2. Now we're moving into secret number 3. I hope you're still enjoying this, because this is a blast. This is like a real case example. This is my drunk campaign, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So this is the always on retargeting hack. So a few years ago, we were working for a client called Albacross, and Albacross is basically a B2B SaaS company from Stockholm. And what they would used to do, they actually would sell IP identifier service, which is a very fancy word for saying, if you would visit my website, Albacross would be able to identify where you're located, basically. And if you're at the offices of your company, we would be able to say, oh, okay, Spotify has seen our website, or somebody from Slack has been on our website, or any other company that they would be able to identify. They would say, oh, this kind of company visited your website, and this is all the URLs they were looking at, basically. Super cool product, very early stage, but super cool product that we would be working with. And one day I was having a conversation with a guy called Mikael, and Mikael was the head of customer success. Anybody that would anyone that needed to get into sales, that would be the guy we're talking about. And the guy started talking to me in Slack. He's like, Ricardo, can we just like target like the people that really visit their website? Like, can we just like send them like one-to-one message, identify them and send them one-to-one messages saying, hey, you visit their website, but you didn't sign up. And I'm like, Michael, this is GDPR, you know, this is not going to work out. You know, I mean, you can identify companies, but once you identify the people, that is against GDPR. So that's not going to work out. Until I got drunk. And what happened is basically I figured out, well, like technically you don't really know, like you cannot really identify people, but technically LinkedIn does know that you visited the website. Like if you visit my website, I couldn't know, like I would maybe know your company, but I wouldn't know that you visited. But LinkedIn does. LinkedIn has that pixel on you, and you could technically target the person that visited your website. So what we've done is a really cool campaign where we said, hey, we set up a retargeting campaign where people that had visited the website but didn't sign up and a bunch of other criteria, we would say, hey there, Maxime, I noticed that you visited our website, albacross.com, but never actually said hi. This is why I figured I would start saying hello first. And this is how we identified that, hey, this person actually visited the website, but he didn't convert. So we're going to set up a small retargeting campaign in order to get them back. And then we gave them the pitch about Albacross and basically saying, are you ready to close more B2B deals? Like imagine, because this Max, for example, got this LinkedIn email and he was sharing this on his LinkedIn and on his Facebook saying, hey, example of the right marketing. Good job, Albacross, basically. Now, of course, this was us behind it, but that is good for us to know, is that we were actually just using the limitations of LinkedIn and using it in a way that would actually benefit us and also the client, basically. And from there, it was super nice because I always say that the goal is really to understand the platform, is to really understand what's the technical limitations, what you can get to, and really get creative. Like even Michael shared that screenshot back in the Slack, and we got some really cool replies from, hey, this is dope, this is amazing. So this is really like, I call it my drunk campaign, because I was actually drunk when typing the message. Sorry, non-disclosure. I was drunk when typing the message, and also when figuring this out, that, hey, you can actually just target through LinkedIn message people that have visited your website, but didn't do your action that you really want to do by setting this up. And the setup is actually super easy if you think about it. So here's the setup, the screenshots behind the scene, what's happening basically. So on the left side, you can see the website visitor. This was really early stage. We scaled that into different ways. But in this case, we just said, okay, we want to target all the website visitors, and we're going to exclude all of the people that have never signed up. So never went to like starting a free trial or doing the thing that we really want to do, book a demo or whatever it is. And on top, we also excluded all of the, like concurrente, which is a Dutch word for competitors, excuse me, for all the competitors, and maybe like job titles you don't want to target, like, oh, we don't sell to salespeople. Okay, let's exclude the salespeople. Or we don't sell to a certain company size. Let's exclude them basically. So on the left side, you have targeting all the website visitors, people that have never signed up. And on the right side, you're just excluding as much criteria that you just don't want to target or just don't want to spend your money on. And this is a super simple campaign that you could technically set up tomorrow without too much hassle, basically. Now, there's a few caveats to this. So when you're running sponsored emails, and this is also something I teach in the course, is that your pay percent can be all the way from 10 cents to €1, which is technically still super cheap. But there's a few things that you need to remember. The first one is that you need to send from a credible profile, basically. So try to get your CEO on board, get your CMO on board, or every like respectable person or high target profile. Make sure that it's a credible person. Don't send it just from a salesperson. That's something we've learned along the way. It's very important that you sell it from a high profile case. Having 60% open rates is normal. I see everybody getting excited, I don't know, because they run some email campaigns and they saw an open rate of 60% there, and they're like, go crazy. 60% is very normal. Like if you hit 60%, or like if you hit lower than 60%, you're just doing crap. So anything above 60%, that's at least the bare minimum where you need to be reaching. Our campaigns were reaching up to 70, 80, 90%. That's actually where you want to be going to. There's no custom greeting, so there's no like, there's no in the headline, you cannot put like Ricardo or any other name. So keep that in mind. Clickable links, there's only 3 of them. And the most important ones are the last 2. There is a 45 days restriction, basically. So if I'm getting like a LinkedIn email from on my personal profile, I'm not going to get one for the coming 45 days. What does that mean, basically? So if I've been targeted by another company by LinkedIn email, well, I'm not going to be able to get yours for the coming 45 days. So using this LinkedIn ad strategy, you need to realize and understand that if you're going to implement this and your pay percent, they suggest you to do 10 cents up to €1, take the double, basically, because these are people that have visited your website and didn't do an action that you wanted to, basically. So knowing that you have a restriction, so if you miss people, so if they got a LinkedIn email, like they visited your website and they got a LinkedIn email the next day because of another company, because you were so cheap, you didn't want to overpay a little bit, well, that LinkedIn email is going to land in somebody else, this inbox. It's not going to be you, it's going to be a different company. So what I advise when using this strategy, sponsored email, target high. Take the double. It doesn't matter. You're never going to get to pay €2 anyways, but just make sure that if LinkedIn has to decide, and think about the graph that we showed you around the demand and the supply, make sure that you pay double so that LinkedIn knows, okay, this guy is willing to pay a little bit more than the other person. We're going to give the space to him. And there's one big limitations from 2022, which really completely sucks. So this is really when you're targeting or using the strategy outside of GDPR countries, because from 2022, they screwed up. Like there's no LinkedIn email or conversation ads possible to European audience anymore. So if you're targeting European audiences, this is going to be hard. This is really strategies for anything outside the GDPR countries. Now, a few things to know around retargeting. You have 180-day cookies, which is amazing. But so if somebody visits your website, you have about 180 days to retarget these people. But also a very important thing, and I see this, like they read the strategy, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do the segmentation on everybody that visits the pricing page and this page and that page. Yes, but the minimum audience size on LinkedIn is still 300 people. That's still quite a lot for a B2B audience, basically. So keep in mind that you have to have a minimum audience of 300 people for your ads to actually start running, basically. And the other part, it is very normal to get huge CPMs. Like in this strategy, sometimes we get a CPM of like 80, 100, 120 euros because you're retargeting a very small audience very specifically. It's very normal to get very high CPMs. So if you're looking at your CPMs, you're going to go crazy, but it's worth it because you're still getting very high relevant people that you're just spending a few bucks on. Okay, well, the question now is, if you're looking at the 3 secrets that I shared you, did you feel your time is well spent? Like I guess if you reached all the way here, I believe that the answer is yes, basically. And I really wanted to know, like, did you enjoy this webinar, basically? Like, think about it. Did you enjoy? Is it just another crappy guru basically telling you bullshit stuff, or did you actually enjoy it? Because I'm going to be sharing a really cool surprise, basically. And it's basically the most European Advanced LinkedIn Ads Masterclass ever created, because there's crap out there and I'm tired of seeing all these crappy courses going online. So that's why we've built that one. So the best LinkedIn Ads Masterclass is really the inside secrets on what we've been doing for millions of ad spend on running profitable LinkedIn ad creatives, using the scraping techniques to lower down the ad costs. So really like getting into the LinkedIn echo targeting template and just showing you exactly how we're scraping profiles to get lower down our ad costs. The frameworks we use to build LinkedIn ad accounts, we have a specific structure on making sure that your ad account actually is healthy, that actually everybody that walks in can actually understand what's happening. We got some master interviews with thought leaders, there's a few coming up, which I'm really, really excited about. And there's also some example campaigns I personally ran before to draw inspiration. So you'll be able to see exactly how I set up the campaigns, what we're doing, how we're doing the setup, how we're converting those leads into our CRM system, all the fun stuff. It's going to be amazing. Now, the thing is, the masterclass is not information you can find online. This is not something you're going to be able to Google. If you Google this stuff, it's not going to happen, basically. It's not boring. It's not theories. It's really hands-on. So there's really a few slides, and then we're going to deep dive into the templates. And it's basic. class for people who never seen LinkedIn ads platform before. So this is if you've never ever like if you never run ads before, I always advise this is not for you because it's a little bit more advanced. Like we're not just walking you through what a CPC is or a CPM. Like if you don't know these terms, please don't give it to somebody else who does, because it's not a junior class. Otherwise, just go to Udemy. There's a few classes there for 20, 25 bucks, which is going to explain you a few of the principles, but this is not for you. You need to have a little bit of basic understanding on how to run ads. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. And it's also not shared by a guru who has never run ads. The ads, the examples that you've given, these are the ads that I've personally created with my team or myself, basically. Now, the masterclass consists of 5 essential parts: strategic insights, platform deep dive, competitor research, creating your first campaigns, and optimizing. So the first part is really understanding what's the strategic foundations, basically. What are like what do I need to know? What do I need to understand for my client or for my own company? What do I need to know in order to run profitable LinkedIn ads? And this is by implementing the NPMC model, basically. The NPMC model is a model we've created in order to understand, are you going to be profitable with LinkedIn ads? Is this going to work out? And if not, how do I start making it profitable, basically? You need to understand the NPMC model before you start running LinkedIn ads at all, or any ads actually at all. And this is, for example, Andre. I'm not going to play the video. You'll be able to see it on the page below. But this is a founder of FullFunnel.io, which was able to strategically advise his clients on how to use LinkedIn ads. He has a great testimonial on what he's doing with it. And I'll be blessed if you could watch that a little bit later down the line. The second part is really the platform deep dive. So in order to run successful campaigns, like, for example, the Albatross campaign I just shared, you need to understand the technical limitations. With anything that you need to do with ads, you have to think about what's the platform, what's the limitation of the platform, and how do I reverse engineer my strategy in order to get into this. I see so many people, they advise their clients, or they're like, oh yeah, this is, this, I want to do this because, my marketing manager or this person told me that we should do this. And then you come into the platform like, oh shit, this is not possible. So what do I do? So you need to understand the technical limitations before building a strategic plan. So the third part is really about doing the research, because I hate reinventing the wheel. Like if you can just figure out what your competitors are doing, what campaigns they are running, what successful campaigns they are running, and we have a template for that, you can just reverse engineer what they're doing and just give it your twist. You don't need to start thinking about all of these things that you can do. Just go to your competitors and figure out what they're doing and draw some inspiration from them. I call it being slazy, or at least my girlfriend calls me slazy, because it's like a combination of like smart and lazy. But you really need to be slazy in life in order to get things done, basically. So for example, also Olivier, who's a co-founder of Sales Gladiators, advises is this is actually the only LinkedIn ads course that you should be following. And you'll see later on, you can just watch the review on what he's doing and how he's advising it. So the fourth part, which is almost the last part, is ads creation. Basically, we're going to show you up how to set up bidding strategies, discover hidden targeting options, and actually connecting your leads with your CRM. We're going to show you exactly what to do, what to connect, how to connect stuff, so that you don't have to send things to your Google Sheet or whatever, just to set it up straight away into your CRM or your client's CRM, basically. And this is, again, there's a few really cool examples on when I spoke at AdWorld on why LinkedIn ads, like I wasn't expecting this, but it was amazing speaking at AdWorld and getting this feedback on the frameworks and the things that we teach, basically. And the last part is how to optimize and analyze. So this is basically on how to look at your data, how to optimize the best conversions, how to structure your ads. Because in order to read your analytics, you need to be able to structure your ads in a way that it makes it easy for you to analyze, and also other people to come in your campaigns and help you out where you can, basically. So the last thing is, like, these LinkedIn ad seekers, they've been tested not just with me, not just with 1, 2, 3 clients, but over 100 clients over 4 years, and honestly with my personal money. So in the frameworks or anything that I'm teaching in the class, it's basically with my own money. Basically, I'm just spending my own money on LinkedIn to show you exactly what's working and what's not, basically. So this is what you're going to get. This is literally an overview of all the things that you're going to get. You're going to get access to the full course, 46 LinkedIn ads course, the full course that you're going to get, the LinkedIn ads templates, my book, even, like, you're not going to get the physical book, but you can get it as well on the website, but you're going to get the ebook as well. So you're going to be able to read this entire document on how to not just set LinkedIn ads, but also set up your entire funnel. So when it comes to outbound, inbound, and ads, you're going to be able to just rock LinkedIn together with this whole strategy. LinkedIn Ads expert interviews. There's each month we have an interview of some really cool experts that are coming in to just show you the best practice, the behind the scenes, basically. All future updates, any questions that you would want to know, and that is the cool part. So we have so many people that just walk into the course and then they ask a specific question around their topic. You can ask any question that you want 24/7. We're going to come back to you within 24 hours. You're going to have an answer to how you would set up, or how we would advise to set up your specific campaign. And the cool stuff, I think that's like the most craziest thing that we're doing, is the weekly private calls for 6 weeks. So if you're starting your LinkedIn ads journey, you're like, fuck, okay, where do I start? What do I do? Or like, can somebody come and check out? We're having some weekly calls for 6 weeks, which is recorded and available for replay for you to watch exactly what you're going to be doing, or sharing knowledge with other people. So that is the coolest thing that you'll be able to join in as well. And which is total value of $5,499. Now, I have a really cool topic for you, because I have a really, really cool special offer for you, for the person or for people that have actually watched this webinar. So the cool stuff is that the special offer for this event is just $995. So I'm basically giving you a full discount of 82% off of everything that you just saw, of all the value that I've just given. You're going to get an 82% off just because you've been able to watch this entire webinar. And I'm so blessed that you were able to do that. So technically, how do I get this offer? It's super simple. On the page downstairs, you'll be able to see a link, which you're going to be seeing the full overview. What's in the course? What do you get? How does it split up? Like all of these things, you'll be able to just click the link below, basically. But I also have a second surprise. And I hope you're ready for this one, because this is the coolest surprise I believe I can give. Is you're going to get a 30 minutes private coaching if you buy the masterclass within 24 hours of seeing this webinar. So if you buy within 24 hours of you seeing this screen, you'll be able to book a meeting straight away, 30 minutes private coaching. So if you have a situation, you're like, oh, wow, I need to set up this campaign for a client, for myself, and I need somebody to come in and check in and give all the advice he can, you'll be able to get a 30 minutes private coaching if you buy the masterclass within 24 hours of seeing this webinar. And here's a quick recap. So basically, you're going to get all of this. And this is so cool because I've been able to share all of my knowledge just in these courses, but not just the courses, also the templates to just become more efficient, to get more results, all the way for not even $5,500, or euros, which we usually sell it for, but you're just going to get this for a price of 995 euros, which is, like, if you think about it, just a few clicks on LinkedIn and wasting your budget, you'll be able to get that money back in return. So at the end, what I want to share is like what the end you're going to be able to learn or do a few things. You're going to understand the 4 key aspects you need to nail before launching every single social campaign. Not even LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, all of these things, you'll be able to nail the 4 key aspects. You're going to understand how to craft the right audience to lower your cost per lead, get deeper understanding which ad forms you need to create to achieve results, because I see most people just struggling with the same ad set. They're like, oh yeah, this is good. No, absolutely not. You're going to recreate and learn from the funnels of your competitors without making the costly mistakes. So you're going to be able to see what's working for them, what's not, and learn how to run advanced scraping techniques. So really techniques that we've been teaching in a masterclass just with a few segment people. So there's not a lot of people that know these tricks. Well, now exactly the 1,000 people that are now joining the course, they are, but like most people actually don't know that there's a whole scraping technique to lower down those costs. And you're going to discover how to bid and analyze your campaigns to avoid costly clicks, because you don't want to be spending your money in the wrong way. So it's really like your struggles. I want to get them away. I don't want you to spend more wasted ad spend. I want you to stop wondering why your campaigns aren't working, or stop overpaying LinkedIn for stupid results or for driving the same results which are not working for you. So my last question is for you. Do you have a successful way to drive demand for your company, clients using LinkedIn ads? Because if it's no, like if you did not answer yes to this question, this is the masterclass you need to be joining. This is the only European masterclass you're actually going to be able to drive LinkedIn ads results. Here's a quick recap on what you're going to get: ads courses, templates, the book, the whole book. This is 200 pages of value on how to approach LinkedIn content marketing, expert interviews, all the updates of the courses, questions that you're going to be able to ask around this course, and the weekly private calls for 6 weeks, which are going to be recorded, and you're going to be seeing them every single time. So if you want to go back to them, you'll be able to get those. And of course, if you enjoyed this, like if you enjoyed this whole webinar, I'm so excited that if you get to this stage, I'm so excited that you are still here. Share it with the people. Share if you really enjoyed anything of the frameworks, how to lower your costs, retargeting, remarketing hacks. Share it with the people. Share it on LinkedIn. Share it on any profile. I don't really care. Just don't forget to tag me, because I love to get some feedback on what you've learned and what you really liked. So if you learned something, just connect with me on LinkedIn. There's my profile there. Just connect with me and just say, hey, I really loved XYZ, because we are constantly improving whatever we're building. And if you want to learn more, like if like, this masterclass, not yet, but I want to learn a little bit more, you can basically just go to my personal blog. There's my website there. Go to my personal blog and you'll be able to learn so much more about LinkedIn ads, how to create, connect lead gen forms, ad aspects, all the fun stuff around LinkedIn. I really enjoyed it. I'm at least having fun here, even if I'm in Brussels, in Belgium, for people that don't know this. So I really enjoy this. I'm really looking forward to, having a chat. Just connect with me on LinkedIn, send me an email if you enjoyed it. If you don't like it as well, let me know as well. But I was having so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the course. See you later. Ciao.